After almost 10 years of waiting, Silent Hill is coming back. But it isn't just one game. No, it's a remake of Silent Hill 2, as well as two new games, Silent Hill F and Silent Hill Townfall. Then there's a new movie called Return to Silent Hill, which is a sequel to the 2006 Silent Hill film. And then an interactive video streaming experience, Silent Hill Ascension. With all these announcements, many fans are obviously apprehensive about how things will turn out with the game, since retaining the nostalgic, mysterious aesthetic of Silent Hill is actually pretty challenging. And while the older games may have lacked in graphical fidelity, they certainly did more than enough to creep fans out, myself included. But the fact is, Silent Hill coming back has caused more than a little bit of a fuss. In truth, it's the biggest thing to happen in ages for many fans of the survival horror genre. But before we speculate and talk about the upcoming games, let's take some time to discuss Silent Hill as a franchise and why so many people are so captivated with its many characters and the cursed town itself. Chapter 1. A World of Madness. Life is filled with many wonderful things, but there's no denying that tragedy taints all of our lives in some way at some point in time. The great Italian poet Dante Alighieri once said, "There is no greater sorrow than to recall happiness in times of misery." Put more simply, when we're sad or down, we often think of the times we were happy, and that generally tends to compound our sadness. The thing is, when tragic events happen in our lives, we feel a sense of loss, and maybe more significantly, a longing to reclaim those things we have lost, even if we rationally know that there's no way to ever get them back. And this is arguably the most important theme that runs throughout virtually all of the Silent Hill games. In the first Silent Hill, Harry Mason, a widower, has to search for his missing adopted daughter Cheryl in the resort town of Silent Hill. In Silent Hill 2, James Sunderland visits the town in the hopes of finding his deceased wife, Mary. Then in Silent Hill 3, Heather Mason, a teenager, deals with the loss of her childhood and innocence as she is compelled to deal with the many challenges of adulthood. In Silent Hill 4, The Room, Henry Townsend, an introvert, gets locked in his own apartment from the inside and has to deal with the loss of his personal freedom and, very possibly, his sanity. I think you get the picture. I know I'm glancing over the other game titles like Homecoming and Downpour here, but just bear with me on this one. It's also no secret that the many monsters and horrors that each of the game's protagonists encounter are psychological manifestations of their fears, guilt, and pain. For example, Pyramid Head is a manifestation of James' own subconscious inner turmoil. Also, the pyramid the monster wears is actually a huge helmet that ensures his head is constantly weighed down, as in the weight of guilt. Oh, and he doesn't actually carry a sword, it's a giant knife. It's also important to note that Silent Hill itself isn't exactly the same for each character, so if anything, the way the town and its surroundings appear is a result of their own memories and perceptions of it. This isn't necessarily a hard and fast rule though, as Silent Hill 4 The Room takes place in the city of Ashfield, see what they did there, and features some particularly nightmarish levels. However, are these based on Henry's own perceptions and memories, or are they somehow products of Walter Sullivan's own twisted mind? Who can say? And, naturally, a game franchise as unique and emotionally intense as Silent Hill not only requires some incredible monster designs and memorable characters, but also an amazing, stirring soundtrack. And to be frank, I think Akira Yamaoka is possibly my favorite game soundtrack producer ever. Whether it's the hauntingly beautiful melody of Promise on piano, the deeply poignant Not Tomorrow on acoustic guitar, or the nauseating pulse of Ashes and Tears, the many tracks Akira has created for the Silent Hill franchise are arguably the greatest reason why it's endured for as long as it has and inhabits a corner of the human mind all its own. If you want an emotional rollercoaster ride, Silent Hill consistently delivers in the way it looks, feels, and sounds. I mean, Silent Hill 4 gave me nightmares as a teenager, and I had to play it in the daytime just so I didn't get too freaked out. That's just how powerful Silent Hill is to me and many, many other people as well. Personally though, I think people love Silent Hill because each of us is looking for some resolution to a problem we may never really find. While this may be true for many or even all game franchises, something about Silent Hill seems to resonate more deeply with people. I think it's because Silent Hill itself is the psychological personification of humanity's search for meaning and sanctity, as well as something that was once pure being utterly corrupted by time and circumstance. For many of us, Silent Hill feels familiar, and maybe for some, it's home. Chapter 2. Letter from the Lost Days. So the real question is, why is Silent Hill back? And not only that, but why are there 3 games, a new movie, and an interactive streaming experience on the way? I mean, after Silent Hills was cancelled in 2015 and Konami very messily parted ways with Hideo Kojima, Silent Hill was dead in the water. But let's be real here. The big money in gaming is in multiplayer games. Yep, whether it's Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, Overwatch, or Fortnite, the single-player gaming experience has become something of a non-entity for gaming companies, or at best, an afterthought. And the thing is, these companies obviously want to make as much money as possible for their efforts. So if the majority of gamers are happy to spend all day competing in online tournaments, buying custom skins, and paying for DLCs, it stands to reason that gaming companies are going to do just about everything in their power to meet this demand and make a stack of cash in the process. Of course, this doesn't mean single-player gaming is completely dead, not by a long shot. But with online FPS and RPG games, gaming companies stand to make a lot more money and enjoy a constant stream of reliable income. Yay, capitalism? So if you're less than impressed with the state of gaming today, it's completely understandable, because it's a little more than frustrating. This is very likely one of the reasons why we haven't seen a Silent Hill game for the past 7 or 8 years. And by the way, it's not exactly clear when the Silent Hill 2 remake will release, but based on current information, the earliest will probably be sometime in Q2 of 2023. But this isn't official or confirmed, so don't take my word for it. As for the other games, Silent Hill F and Silent Hill Townfall, they probably won't be released anytime soon. But the news of this revival isn't really new. Rumors of Konami reviving the Silent Hill franchise emerged all the way back in February 2021, and it's now clear those rumors were indeed true, as several third-party studios are now in the process of developing the upcoming Silent Hill games. But again, why is Silent Hill back? Is it because Konami wants to be relevant again, as many seem to suggest? No, I don't think so. According to an article by Rich Stanton published on PC Gamer back in May 2022, Konami just had its most successful financial year ever by a huge distance. Despite what everyone in the West might think, Konami does still make games, but for the last while it's focused primarily on audiences in the East and making it big with franchises such as the extremely popular Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game. Konami has a bunch of amazing IP, and quite frankly, whether anyone knows it or not, and if their financials are accurate, they're still extremely popular and profitable. So based on this evidence, my guess is that since Konami is in a good position financially, they can afford to take some risks and attempt to recapture the Western market. Maybe that's a bit of an oversimplification, but I think it makes sense. If the Silent Hill 2 remake and the 2 new games are a success, awesome. If for some reason they aren't, no big deal. Maybe just finally put the franchise to rest, or try something again in a few years' time if there's enough demand. Whatever the case, the potential risks can't be big enough for Konami to really worry about any chance of failure, and as a company that's been around for many decades, I'm pretty sure they know exactly what they're doing. Despite some of the concerns, I really do hope all of the games surpass my expectations and impress both old and new fans alike. Chapter 3: Traversing the Portals of Reality. And now we get onto the 3 upcoming games which are due for release at some time in the hopefully not too distant future. Let's begin with the Silent Hill 2 remake, since it seems like it'll be the first to reach audiences. The Silent Hill 2 remake looks like it's more or less a complete reimagining of the original game and will feature the iconic nightmarish monsters by Masahiro Ito along with the unforgettable soundtrack by master producer Akira Yamaoka. The trailer alone looks incredible, and I for one am more than a little excited to see Silent Hill 2 rendered in high definition. For some reason, fans are worried that Bloober Team, the game's developers, may not give the remake the treatment it duly deserves. Personally, I'm not worried at all. These guys were behind Layers of Fear and Layers of Fear 2. Heck, they even got Tony Todd aka Candyman to narrate the latter. Okay, so maybe Layers of Fear isn't a perfect game, but it's still really solid and entertaining for the most part. At least they're a studio that knows horror and have created games inspired by franchises such as Silent Hill. Obviously I can only speculate, but I don't think Konami would have partnered with Bloober Team if they were anything less than impressed with what they've achieved so far. I'm not sure if any dialogue or elements will change substantially, but if you're looking for a high definition facsimile of Silent Hill 2, I don't think this will be that. I'm going to remain positive on this one, but from what I've heard, this remake won't have any loading screens and will instead feature seamless gameplay when moving to new areas and coming out of cutscenes. I hope we'll see Silent Hill 2 sometime early or in the middle of next year, but no formal announcement has been made as yet. Then there's Silent Hill Townfall, which is being developed by No Code and published by Annapurna Interactive. Right now there's not much to go on but the trailer, which features a zoom in on some kind of pocket television, while a disembodied voice talks about we who have done something so awful and are being judged by these people. The voice then talks about you being here for some other reason and not wanting to be anywhere near you when you figure it out. I tend to think this is the player the voice is talking to. I mean, that would make sense, right? It's a bit hard to say exactly what the story will entail, but it definitely sounds like a Silent Hill game and definitely features horrors beyond your comprehension. I assume this game also takes place in Silent Hill, but it looks like the ocean appears in the trailer, so maybe not? Yeah, I know there's the lighthouse and Toluca Lake in Silent Hill, but it's clearly some rolling waves that appear in the trailer. Anyway, this one is extremely intriguing, and since No Code were the team behind Observation and the legendary Stories Untold, I'm looking forward to an awesome offering from them in the Silent Hill franchise. And finally, there's Silent Hill F. This one is undoubtedly the weirdest and arguably most intriguing of the three. It apparently takes place in a Japanese town in the 1960s, so if anything, it's a prequel to the original Silent Hill. It looks like it features a Japanese schoolgirl fleeing something akin to the corruption seen in the other Silent Hill games, and then being transformed into something that looks decidedly aquatic and utterly horrifying. Nothing like someone's face falling off to get your blood flowing. The unusual visuals in the plot come from the demented mind of Japanese horror writer and artist Ryokishi Zero Nana. Yep, I'm talking about the creator behind the When They Cry series of visual novels. Needless to say, I'm expecting an expertly written and visually translated game here and have a strong feeling this may actually be the game to watch out for. Again, it's hard to say exactly what the story entails, but Silent Hill F seems like it'll be an amazing addition to the Silent Hill franchise. Chapter 4. Never End, Never End, Never End. It might be short-sighted, but I can't help but feel optimistic about Silent Hill and really have high hopes for the upcoming releases. Silent Hill transcends the realm of gaming in many respects, and I'd argue that overall it's one of the most emotive and stirring game franchises ever created. In many ways, once you enter Silent Hill, you never truly leave. The odd nostalgia the games evoke is truly unique, and I've yet to encounter another franchise that has pushed as many boundaries in the horror genre as Silent Hill has. Silent Hill is more than just cheap jump scares and outright terror. It's an amazing mix of gut-wrenching dread and enduring hope, something I think just about everyone who plays the games understands completely. So, what do you think of Silent Hill's return? Which game are you most looking forward to? And are there any important details I may have overlooked? Be sure to like and subscribe for more in-depth analyses of games and other awesome topics. Until next time!